Good afternoon, traders. It's Simon here again at CADJPY Capital Markets. Now, as you know, in this week 16 weekly review, I was a little bit late, so I said I'll show you a little trade that I've taken and a trade idea that I've got coming up. So the trade I took to start with was Euro Pound long. It was taken before the news come out in the morning on Wednesday the 18th. And what I like about this trade was when we look at here, the price been moving down for several weeks now, and I was looking at some point for it to reverse. And the way I look for them reversals is one, look for the reversal candles, and obviously then put a bit of trade ideas together. So when we just got RSI here, RSI is at 0. Every time it goes to 0, the chart normally moves up. So we've got once there, here it moved up, here it moved up, here it moved up as well. Obviously I know the move here wasn't as strong, but it still moved up as well. Every time chart price gets to 0, I know here it didn't move up the first time, but we just got out of 6 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 6, it moves up when RSI said 0. Another one here, there as well. So that's how I use RSI personally, and as you can see here, most of the time it's correct, it is. So that's a nice indication on its own to happening. It makes me want to see what's happening in the lower time frames. The other thing I liked about this trade as well was that volume on this bullish candle here had picked up higher than the previous candle there, so, and the candle before that, and it was almost the same as this bearish engulfing candle here, which said to me this bearish engulfing candle wasn't particularly valid, and I was looking for some bullish price action on the lower time frames. So now when we look at the lower time frames, the 4 hour to start with doesn't give me too much, but what I do know is it rejected the 4 hour 50, then came down and is putting multiple low tests in on the 4 hour chart. And as you can see here as well, the volume's quite high on the 4 hour chart there for the high test. So for me personally, this bearish candle here should have been quite large. I mean, let's be quite honest, it should be almost as large as this candle here, but wasn't at all. So the sellers there are not really winning anything here at the moment. And then as we started increasing here, we started turning into a bullish bias here, and obviously then we saw the big bearish engulfing candle coming afterwards, which I actually took the trade just before that. So then let's go down to the 1 hour chart and let's see what we got. So on the 1 hour chart, firstly, this was the trade I taken. It's a 1% trade. That was, for me, that's all I wanted. I didn't want to risk it anymore. Obviously, some people go, oh, you could have made something like, I don't know, let's say something stupid like 3.5%, not 1%. But it's about taking trades that win consistently over and over again. So all them on the daily chart where I show RSI is at 0, I won 5 out of 7 times of 1%, which means overall I would have made 3% at the smallest scale whatsoever. So when you look at probabilities, I'm winning, so that's where we look at it really. The last one I took longer there, but we'll go for that another day. So what I saw personally myself was this wedge forming at the moment, and the 1 hour 50 was containing price here and here. A nice break above it with very decent volume. It's not the greatest volume in the world, but then when it pulled back down, it was on super low volume on the pullback down. Then when we got rejection of the pivot, the 382 level, if I'm going to zoom in there for you guys, I'll delete this as well, you don't need that now. Then you saw here, so as a low test, rejecting the 1 hour 50, you reject the pivot and the 382, and it's the first candle of decent volume, nice volume. I felt a move to the upside would be quite good. The next, I entered round about this area here in after 8 o'clock in the morning. So this candle finished at 9. I entered before this candle finished. It was a good little trade, and obviously then I had a 17 pip stop for 17 pip reward, and the next hour, boom, off we go at 1. So that's what we did there really. On this chart as well, to confirm, we had, this is my MACD line here, just so you know the settings here, it's only the MACD line, nothing else, and you can see we've got higher highs forming where we've got lower lows forming on the chart itself. So this is MACD divergence, and normally this would also help predict where the market's going to go next. So this on the lower time frame coupled with the RSI on the higher time frame there really gives you a good indication of what's going to happen next, and just picking where your timing on the intraday is just a little bit more crucial there, and that's how I timed it there. Like I said, I put my stop at 618 just because I wanted to get a 1-to-1 before R1, just at the previous highs there, and the Fibonacci extension, so that for me is absolutely fine. So that's what we did today really. Now the trade I've got in mind now for you guys is another short-term trade, and it's CAD-yen. So what I like about CAD-yen as well here, you see here RSI sent at 100 again, and again RSI at 100 moved down. I know sometimes this doesn't move as much as the euro, but it also moves down anyway most of the time. You can see here RSI again peaking up and moved down. even at the bottom, RSI moved back up. So RSI is fairly good. Then at the moment, you can see we've been at the top of this RSI, top of 100 now several times. So the fact that we're now forming some bearish patterns to the downside suggests to me that we've got a nice little short-term trade on our hands. Now, for me personally, I don't know how far this obviously will go down, and I feel that maybe it could come up and come down and move back up again. We don't really know 100% from this actual chart, but what I will say is this: normally it'll come down to the first fib level at least, 382. We've got a daily 50 in a way, so I want to get out just around it there. So 843, 84.3 is a nice level to get out, and that's what I'll be targeting on this trade. So when we come down to the lower time frames on the intraday chart, this is what I've got here. I've got a nice triangle forming here. Good volume to the downside of breaking out. I like that. And again here, you can see exactly the same story as Euro Pound is happening on CAD Yen. We've got lower highs forming on the MACD, higher highs have been forming here. So on the left hand side there's your higher highs there. And so for me personally, I feel that a nice pullback to this level here will be nice. And 84.31 is my target. And that would be a 2.5% trade there. I'd happily, to be honest, guys, just place an order here in all fairness. And that would really suit me down to the ground. A nice safe stop outside of the pattern there. So above there, I mean, most people like to do it tighter than that. You could do that, no problem at all. Notice how we are going past the Fibonacci extension there, but that's purely because I'm targeting more towards a daily 50, where this needs a pullback on the daily chart, and I feel this pattern will do it. When we do the 1-to-1 pattern distance, it does end up around here anyway. So that's what I'm looking for there. If you are a bit more risk averse and like to take a few more risks, you could place a trade here with a 22 pip stop, a 20 pip stop, something like that. For me personally, I wouldn't want to put a stop that tight on it, just because sometimes you get a wick that will just kiss you and take you out. If you do it this tight, it's got to be on the level there as such, 85.2, and then you can then still target your levels here, and you've got a 4.4% trade there coming up in the next couple of days or so. Next day, I'd say tomorrow as such. It may not pull back. It may pull back to the 382. You've got to see that. And like again, if you see the higher volume kicking in on this chart, like you saw on Euro Pound, rejecting, say, around the 1 hour 50, rejecting this area here, this Fibonacci area, they'll be looking to take a trade. Let's say you get one there. I didn't do my stop there. I would if it's this kind of style of trading. And you put this up there, it's still 2% trade there. So the worst case scenario, if it does pull back very shallow, you can have a 2% trade there at least. Okay guys, I hope you're well, and we'll speak to you soon. Take care.